Today we have several speakers. I'll introduce them all. We have Fire Chief Brian Marshall, your District Supervisor, Supervisor Scribner, Battalion Chief Brandon Smith, and our Forester, Jeff Gletney. Each of these gentlemen have something important to tell you, and we're so happy to see so many people here today. I asked for 80 to 100 chairs, and we have well beyond that here. So thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. And first to speak is Supervisor Scribner.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. He said that we all have interesting things to say. I think I'm the exception for today's subject matter. But I want to tell you, we went on a tour today of the incident area with the chief and deputy chief, etc. Just an incredible job that our firefighters did in holding that line. I mean, we all should be so proud of them. Within what, 16, 17 minutes of being notified of the incident, they had the air tankers inbound and they were dropping fire retardant. And that's why the fire didn't get up into the tree mortality area where the bark beetle and the drought has really affected the pines. And all of you up on Deer Trail, you know all too well what I'm talking about. But that's why those structures are still standing, I believe. And that's why it didn't get into those trees, because they were on it that fast. And just continuing to defend the homes in Hard Flat, etc. So my job is to work as hard as I can in a very stressed budgetary environment because of the downturn in oil, to make sure that this department continues to have the resources that it needs. And so that's my commitment to you, and I am just so proud of them and so proud to represent you on the Board of Supervisors. So thank you all very much, and God bless you.
Okay, so most of you know the fire is winding down at this point. Here to give an operational update is Battalion Chief Brandon Smith.
Thank you. So I do have some good news for you that I'm sure all of you will be happy to hear. We are sitting right now at about 97% containment of the fire. And we're looking at probably about 1,875 acres total that were affected with this fire. So I'm just going to kind of run down a little bit on one other. As most of you know, road closures and evacuations have been lifted, so most everybody should have found that out by now, and hopefully if you haven't, then we'll make sure we get that info to you. But as of today, pretty much all road closures and evacuations are open. So to talk a little bit kind of where the fire's at right now, the incident management team has turned the fire back over to us and myself. I'm one of the trainees that will be working as the incident commander, along with Chief Derek Davis, and we will basically be running through the weekend with some patrol status, but for the next few days, our main concern is up in this upper portion in Division Mike, which is the upper Deer Trail area between Deer Trail and I guess you would say the highway there on the other side. But right in there is where we had more of our most concern towards the end of this fire, where we're having a little bit of smoke, some of the unburned brush, and that's our main focus. We've had hand crews down in there. We had the helicopters dropping today, kind of cleaning up some of the last bit of stuff, but it's looking really good, and we really have high expectations by Friday, really starting to clear out most of the last of the resources, and then just sending patrols through the weekend to kind of really monitor it, and then we'll assess it from there and kind of see how much more we're going to staff it. But we're hopeful that we will be able to kind of call this completely contained and out within this weekend, if not by Monday, Tuesday time frame. Other than that, if you do have some questions, I'll be around. I know Derek will be around, and if you have questions about the operation of the fire, feel free to ask. And we appreciate you coming and supporting us.
Do you know what started it?
At this time, it's still under investigation, which will take some time. They do need to kind of do different research and investigate and talk with some of the different people that were involved, if they did have anybody involved. Okay, thanks.
After they've all spoken, we're going to take questions, and I'll take those questions and direct them to whoever can answer them the best. Here to talk about the tree mortality issue and the beetle kill and And the problem that's really plaguing this community is our new forester, Jeff Gletney.
Thanks, Tyler. So the good news is the fire's out. You guys all still have your homes, and that's great news. The bad news is we still got a whole bunch of dead trees up there and a lot of fuel, and it's going to be a continuing problem. And there are no easy answers that I know of. As many of you know, we had a grant, so we cleared a couple hundred feet each side of Deer Trail. That grant money is gone as far as the tree removal. I think we got most, if not all, the landowners that we had permission to clear. The plan was for our fire crews to come in right after the logger and start cleaning up the slash, but our fire crews have been kind of busy elsewhere. So the slash is still there, and we'll get to it as quickly as we can. As far as the rest of the trees, we're looking, trying to find more grant money. I think CSD may be applying for a grant. We've been talking. There's some Cal grant money for trees that threaten roads and infrastructure. So that's a possibility to get all the other roads other than Deer Trail. Right now, there's no money available just for landowners to cut your trees around your house. I know it's really expensive, and we're trying to find something. But right now, like I say, there's no easy answers. But we're gonna keep trying. We need to get rid of those trees. They're not going anywhere. It's just probably just going to get worse if we don't do something here pretty quick. That's all I got to say.
I'm sure you guys will have more questions for Jeff after this is over. But our final speaker is Chief Marshall. Chief Marshall's been very busy not only with the Erskine fire, but now with the Deer fire as well.
Thanks, Tyler. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here tonight, because the engagement between our communities, our citizens, and the fire department is very important to me and our organization, because only working together we will be successful through the fire season. So let me take a step back. I know everybody's watched the news, read the newspaper, viewed it online, but it's been a busy 2 weeks for the Kern County Fire Department. Actually unbelievably busy the last 2 weeks. Record-setting busy. And trust me, as your fire chief, I don't want a record like we had in the Kern River Valley. Nearly 300 homes destroyed, 2 fatalities, 50,000 acres burned, over $22 million in suppression cost. That's $22 million that we all pay as taxpayers to put fires like that out. So busy 2 weeks up there supporting that community, a lot of devastation, a lot of recovery, and that's what we're into right now. We're working with FEMA, the State of California Office of Emergency Services, to help those people get back their lives, because it's forever changed. Whole neighborhoods wiped out. It's almost surreal. It's almost like it's just unreal. That could have happened right here. It very easily could have happened right here. So this fire starts, and it starts in the afternoon when most of our fire starts, and it starts in a bad spot because it's at the base of the hill, and we all know fire burns uphill. And that's exactly what it started doing, and it started skirting along the side, making a run towards Highway 58. Now let me assure you, even though we had a huge resource commitment, both personnel and fire trucks committed to the Erskine fire, every fire station was open and staffed. We had resources available, so there was no delay in getting response to the Deer fire. There was no delay. Everything was rolling. Everything was rolling to your fire. Obviously, when our units got on scene, the fire was rapidly spreading. And let's talk a little bit about the conditions that are out there. We've had El Nino for the last 4 years. We're going into the fifth, we've had drought for the last 4 years. We're going into our 5th year of extreme drought. Last year we didn't have a lot of wildland fires across Kern County. All the fires were up north, where they had rain and they had vegetation that was growing. Because really, if you drove around and looked at Kern County, there was no grass on the mountains, it was dirt. The brush and the trees were drying out and dying, but there was no vegetation. We all know if you take a match and you try to light a tree on fire, not a tree mortality tree, please don't try that. But if you try to light a tree on fire, you're not going to be able to do it. You can't generate enough heat with the match to light a tree on fire. But you take that same match and you throw it in the grass, and the grass instantly catches fire, and that becomes the carrier fuel to move into the ladder fuels, which are, we have grass, and then we have brush, and then we have trees. So it's a fuel ladder, and that's how we get the big fires going. It moves into the trees. So we had El Nino, and it didn't produce as much rain as predicted. Thank goodness we did not have the flooding events that they were predicting, but it caused the vegetation to grow. A lot of vegetation to grow. And what we have is rain, sun, rain, sun, rain, sun, so the grass gets watered, and it gets the sun on it, and it grows. Gets watered, gets the sun on it, and it continues to grow. And the vegetation that's out there in some areas is 4 and 5 foot tall. A lot of times in normal conditions, a lot of cattle run through Kern County and they eat that grass up. But because of the drought, we don't have the cattle that are out there too. So you can see a whole series of events occurring, a domino effect that's been occurring. Drought, El Nino, no cows, just a lot of different things. But it puts you at risk. And then you throw in tree mortality, bark beetle, dead pine trees. This community is at risk. And I know you know that, I don't have to tell you. But the fire starts, and we throw everything on it but the kitchen sink. The Kern County Fire Department's adjusted our response levels to deliver more fire equipment initially, because if we catch a fire when it's small, that's a good thing. We do not want big fires. So we threw everything but the kitchen sink at it. We ordered more and more resources, and I'm sure you saw the DC-10 flying. 12,000 gallons of retardant with each drop. And that retardant holds the fire. We still need the firefighters on the ground to contain the fire, but we were throwing everything at it. We were pretty thin in the Kern County Fire Department at that point. We had the Erskine fire we were finishing up, and now this fire was going, and the duty chief of the Kern County Fire Department, Deputy Chief Brent Moon, made a decision to order an incident management team to help us manage and support the incident. Because there were over 1,600 firefighters that would be in your community fighting this fire and managing this fire and supporting the firefighters and supporting you. So a CAL FIRE incident management team was ordered. So let me talk about that for just a minute. Unified command. How many people heard that term, have heard that term? Okay. We work with a lot of different agencies. We can't do it alone. We work with the United States Forest Service. We work with CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE pays the Kern County Fire Department over $16 million a year to protect CAL FIRE lands here in Kern County. CAL FIRE came in and helped us with this fire. They brought an incident management team, which managed the incident, supported the firefighters, supported you in the community, and the Kern County Fire Department is still engaged. Don't you ever think for a moment we are going to walk away from a fire in our community. And as CAL FIRE has transitioned out, now that this fire is nearing 100% controlled, your Kern County Fire Department will be on the front lines, as they said, through the weekend, making sure the fire's out and supporting your community. But now let's go back to where that fire is racing across the mountain aligning with the drainages. It was a wind-driven fire. The last weeks, we've been in red flag conditions off and on, high wind conditions, low relative humidity. Perfect storm. Perfect storm. So we continued to fight the fire and order more resources, and the fire is making short runs up the drainages towards your community and moving towards Hart Flat. It's a natural course that fire, if it burned next year, will probably do the same thing, the year after, same thing. That's the way it typically burns. So we threw everything at it. CAL FIRE was coming in late at night, and we transitioned to their incident management team at 10 o'clock the next morning. But fire units from all over California. The California Office of Emergency Services, they send strike teams of fire engines from local government fire departments from all over California to protect your homes. That's the way we do business in California. No fire department stands alone. A lot of resources were heading towards your community. 1,600 firefighters. There were nearly 3,000 on the Erskine fire. It was 50,000 acres. So there were a lot of firefighters in your community. The tree mortality, homes threatened, major wildland fire. And I don't know if they talk, but I'm going to talk about this map, because I want you to understand something. This is the fingerprint of the fire. So we have computer modeling, and we take a look at what would this fire do. So they plug in all the factors, the weather, the fuel, everything we plug in. In 3 days, or let me get this straight, 36 hours, this is what the fire would have been. This is your community up here with no suppression activity, with no firefighters showed up. This fire would have jumped Highway 58, heading towards the railroad tracks. Hart Flat would be gone, and probably where we're at right now would be gone. That's what that fire would have done, had we not thrown everything but the kitchen sink at it. So we did that, and we continued to bring resources in the next day, and a full incident command system was set up. A base camp was set up at our Camp 8 in Tehachapi, and we were working 24 hours a day to stop this fire. The air resources are unbelievable that we're committed to this. Helicopters, air tankers, we pounded it with retardant. There's going to be pink on your mountainside for a long time. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. The retardant held. Yeah, a lot of pink out there. Get pink rocks and give them to your kids for Christmas. Yeah. So we threw everything but the kitchen sink, ground troops, hand crews, working in steep, rugged terrain. They wear all their heavy equipment, their jacket, their backpacks, they're carrying tools, putting in fire break, dozers. Let me talk about dozers for a minute, because we're not only putting in fire breaks, we build what we call a box. That box is where we want to stop the fire. Sometimes it's well within the box. It's not good if it jumps outside the box. But we build a box. There's contingency lines that are out there in case the fire jumped our control lines. Guess what that does for your community? We can maintain those breaks, those dozer breaks, those contingency lines, and it protects your community for the future. So if you want to take a positive out of a negative, we now have brakes in there, fuel brakes in there that we can use. So again, we worked on the fire, we worked on the fire, and today it's 97% contained. Why don't we give a big hand to the firefighters? I wish I could have all 1,600 firefighters in here to hear that. But they don't do it for the applause. They do it to protect you. Every one of them, whether it's a brand new firefighter on the ground that's working a shovel, putting in a brake, or it's the air tanker and helicopter pilots, we do it to protect you. So the fire stopped at the tree mortality. There's a lot of pink on the ground. There's a lot of hose lays that are in there. There's miles of hose all over your mountain. A lot of hard work by the hand crews to put in the brakes, and that fire is now out. Again, we will be here through the weekend. You will see smokes. If you see smokes, report them. We want to jump all over it. You're our eyes and ears out there. So we do have the resources, but the fire's out. We do not expect it to jump out of the containment box that we've built. It's been wind tested. That means the wind's been on it, blowing it, no sparks, no embers. The fire hasn't grown, so we feel fairly confident it's going to stay in the box. This one's done. This one's done. But I don't know what's going to happen because we have a long fire season in front of us. So let's talk about that. Bear Valley has one of the most devastating cases of tree mortality with the bark beetle that we've seen. It's definitely the worst area within Kern County. I don't have to tell you that. You know it, you see it, you live it. Fire in Bear Valley scares me. So we need to be vigilant to keep fire out of here. Defensible space. How many people have heard the term defensible space? You should know that term. That's what saves your home. And I can tell you in the firefight on Erskine Creek, the Erskine fire, the communities there, the firefighters stood a fighting chance to save homes if defensible space was done. That clearance, because there's not enough fire trucks in California. I don't have enough fire trucks to park a fire truck in front of every home. We pick a block, we pick a neighborhood. We jump from house to house as the fire burns through. That's the partnership that we have to have. That's the partnership where you go out and you make a defensible space and my firefighters will come in and protect your property when we have the fire burning through. Now trust me, I don't want any more community meetings up here in Bear Valley this year. I think this is the last one. It'll be a good one, but let's not try to be back here. So that's what I'm asking. Help us out. Make sure your defensible space is done. The firewood piles away from the house. The pine needles are cleared off. I know we're fighting with tree mortality to get the trees out. Our focus with our grant funding is to make sure the escape routes are open. And if you talk to the people up in the Kern River Valley, escaping out of a moving wildland fire is absolutely critical. And if we end up with escape routes that are blocked, we're going to be in a world of hurt, all of us. Because our firefighters escape out of there too. So we need to work together. You need to be vigilant. Report fires. If you see them, don't think somebody else called 911. Please call. We have to jump on it quick. Because we're going to throw everything but the kitchen sink at it. And the quicker we can get resources here, the smaller the fire is, and your firefighters that are in that back corner stand a better chance of stopping that fire. And ultimately, there's a lot of good reasons for stopping the fire while it's small. So again, this one's out. I don't know when the next one's going to happen, but it's only the 1st of July. Fire season runs usually into October, November. And then, of course, we have the Santa Ana winds that come in the fall. It's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer, but I don't want to come back to Bear Valley, and I'm confident that you are going to help us with that to keep fire out of your community. We're going to be engaged in the tree mortality. That's not going to end. We now have our forester, and his official title, it's too big for his badge, is Wildland Fire Defense Planner. So he does a lot of different things for your community, and he's almost up here all the time engaged. So we're still working on that. It's going to be a long-term process, but we'll get through it. We will get through it, and we'll take the trees out, and we'll work with you. We don't want a fire to come through here and take the trees out. So thank you so much for coming here tonight. We want to stay engaged in your community while this fire has went on, and we wanted to come in and talk with you and give you the update and give you a chance to ask questions. I know we had some issues with evacuations, but it is important that when we make a recommended evacuation, that you leave. It's for your safety. It really is. And when you get out, our firefighters can get in, they can do their job. The precautionary evacuations, if we give that through the ready current, that means the fire's coming, you better be ready to go. But I can tell you this, if we give a precautionary evacuation, it's probably too late. You need to be practicing now. You need to have that stuff ready. Let me tell you some stories from the Kern River Valley. Medicine. People evacuated out of their house and didn't have a go bag. Now their house burns down, their medicine burns down. Engage with your doctor now so you have that. A lot of good websites are out there that have good information on how to prepare to evacuate from a wildfire. I encourage you to go home tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow morning, find out what you need. If you don't believe me, talk to those people up in the Kern River Valley. They've been evacuated, some of them out of their homes, for almost 2 weeks. And nearly 300 homes burned down. So I don't want that to happen here, but I want you to be ready. And if we do pull the plug and when you do get a ready current, evacuate, please. Evacuate. We'll take care of you. Red Cross will be in. We have the shelters. We'll take care of you. But ultimately, it will save your life. So I think I've spoken enough. I know you have a lot of questions, so I'm going to turn it back over to Tyler, and we'll answer your questions. I want to say thank you again for coming out, because it's really important to the Kern County Fire Department that we stay engaged with you. You are our partners in this. So thank you very much. We were real successful. Let's keep fire out of Bear Valley. Thank you.